let's be honest, we need to completely rethink what it means to be a millionaire. So today, we're diving into the blueprint for real, actual financial independence from the Millionaire Next Door. This isn't about looking rich. It's about building a life where you are truly, unshakably wealthy. You know, when you picture a millionaire, what comes to mind? Probably the fancy cars, the sprawling mansions, right? But what if that whole image is just a myth? What if the real millionaire is your neighbor, the one who drives a 10-year-old car and has lived in the same modest house for decades? Well, the data shows a very, very different story than the one we see on TV. Get this, it's a staggering fact. 86% of all the luxury, high-end cars out there are bought by non-millionaires. Yeah, these are often people with big incomes, sure, but they have very little actual wealth to their name. And that is the critical distinction we've got to get our heads around. And that brings us to the book's absolute core message. Income is not wealth. They are not the same thing. You can earn a massive salary, but if you've got a high consumption lifestyle to match, that income is basically a wrecking ball to your financial future. Wealth isn't about what you earn. It's all about what you keep and what you grow over time. So the authors break people down into two basic groups. On one side, you have the under-accumulators of wealth, or UAWs. Think of the high earners, your doctors and lawyers who spend pretty much everything they make to show off their status. And then, on the other side, you have the prodigious accumulators of wealth, the PAWs. These are the people who quietly build fortunes by putting their financial security way, way ahead of social standing. The goal, according to this entire framework, is to become a PAW. A prodigious accumulator is someone whose net worth is at least double what you'd expect for their age and income. Now, this isn't about luck. It's not about winning the lottery. It is about a deliberate strategy, a ton of discipline, and a relentless focus on getting that long-term freedom. Okay, so what's really cool is that the book doesn't just talk theory. It gives us a tool to measure exactly where we are on this spectrum. You can think of it as your own personal wealth scorecard. It's a dead simple formula to see if you're on track to becoming a PAW or if you're accidentally falling into that UAW trap. And here it is. It is so elegantly simple. You just take your age, you multiply it by your annual pre-tax income, and then divide that whole thing by 10. What you get is your expected net worth for someone in your exact position. It is such a quick, powerful way to diagnose how well you're really playing the game. All right, let's look at this in action. The book gives us these two archetypes. First up is Mike. He's a classic UAW. He's 49, makes $347,000 a year, so his expected net worth should be about $1.7 million. But his actual net worth? $50,000. Now look at Natalie, the PA. She's younger, 40, and she even earns less than Mike, but her net worth is over $2.2 million. That's double her expected amount. That right there is the power of strategy over just having a big income. This quote from a millionaire doctor in the book just perfectly captures the whole PAW mindset. It's a fundamental shift in how you see the world. It's about valuing achievement and lasting freedom over the, fleeting status you get from stuff. It really forces you to ask yourself, what am I truly trying to build here? So how do you do it? Well, it all comes down to playing what the book calls world-class financial defense, and it's built on 3 foundational habits. Number 1, live well below your means. This is the absolute cornerstone of building wealth. Number 2, you have to budget and plan with precision. Millionaires spend way more time on financial planning than the average person. And number 3, you have to consistently invest at least 20% of your income. That one is a total non-negotiable. And the data paints such a clear and honestly surprising picture of these people. 80% are first-generation rich. They're self-made. 2/3 are self-employed, and often in what we'd call dull industries, things like paving or pest control. Why? Because there's less competition and better margins. They prioritize freedom, they stay in the same house for decades, and get this, their most popular car brand isn't BMW or Mercedes, it's Toyota. Okay, this brings us to a really crucial concept. Opportunity cost. Every single time you buy an asset that goes down in value, a new car, a new phone, you're losing more than just the cash you spent. You're losing everything that money could have become if you had invested it. Every single luxury purchase has a hidden, compounding price tag attached to it. Let's make this totally real. Say you skip buying that latest $1,000 phone and you invest that money instead. Over 50 years, just with average market returns, that single decision could be worth over $117,000. That is the true cost of that phone. You're literally trading 6 figures of future wealth for a gadget that'll be obsolete in 2 years. But look, let's be honest. This path is not easy. It really does require a different way of thinking, and it absolutely comes with its own set of challenges. This strategy has a price, and it's so important to understand the trade-offs you're making to get this level of freedom. Yeah, the trade-offs are very real. This kind of lifestyle, to some people, can feel dull. It requires relentless self-discipline, not for a month, but for decades. And constantly resisting that social pressure to keep up with the Joneses can be really isolating. And there's this huge trap the authors call economic outpatient care. That's when you give constant financial handouts to your adult kids, which just cripples their own ability to become financially independent themselves. So, knowing all the challenges, how do you actually start? Let's pivot from the theory to an actionable mandate. Here's a 30-day sprint you can literally begin today to start shifting your trajectory from being a UAW to becoming a PAW. Okay, first, for the next 30 days, track every single dollar you spend. I promise you, you will be shocked at what you find. Second, start building what the book calls a go-to-hell fund. This is enough capital to live for 10 years or more without ever earning another paycheck. It's called that for a reason. It's the ultimate source of freedom. And finally, if you have a family, teach them financial self-reliance. Invest in their skills, not in subsidizing a lifestyle they can't afford on their own. Ultimately, it really all comes down to this one choice: the flashy, high-consumption lifestyle. That's an illusion of wealth. It's built on a foundation of debt and income. The alternative is the quiet, unshakable power that comes from true financial independence. The path is clear, but the choice, well, that's yours. If you want to explore these strategies further and really get your hands on this game-changing book, I've put a link to The Millionaire Next Door and a few other resources for you down in the description below. Make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into the frameworks that build real, lasting wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.